Hi there, my name is Nicole Vignola. I am a neuroscientist and organizational psychologist. I'm also the author of Rewire. There are 3 things today that I'd like to talk to you about. So the first thing is negativity bias. Do you have that inner voice, that kind of narrative that says, I'm not good enough, I can't, or I don't deserve that promotion? That is your brain holding on to negative information. Now, as humans, we have this bias that leads us more towards a negative type thinking. The negativity bias is our ability to focus more on the negative and overlook the positive things in our lives. That is probably due to evolution. So we have 8 basic emotions. Out of those 8 basic emotions, 4 of them are negative, 2 of them are positive, and 2 of them are positive or negative depending on the situations, surprise and anticipation. Now, not only do we have more negative emotions, the brain also registers them more greatly, so they have more value in the brain than positives. And how that can show up in our lives is sometimes you'll go through a day thinking, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And you kind of pile on all the bad things that happened to you in that day. So if I said to you, how many red things are in your environment, and you start counting them, and then I say, okay, well, how many blue things were in the environment? You're going to respond with, I'm not sure, because I was paying attention to all the red things. And that's kind of how negativity bias is. If you're focusing on all the negative things about your day, you may oversee all the wonderful things that happened. And again, I want you to understand that it's not you, it's your brain. It's the way that we have been wired through evolution. But we can change that. When we start to shift our narrative to pay more attention to the positive things in our lives, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that makes us feel good, and we start to become more grateful. We start to shift our perspectives so that in the face of adversity, in the face of negativity, we can reframe our mindset and see the things negative for what they are without piling them on. Now, the second thing I want to talk to you about is the power of your thoughts and visualization. In 1995, Dr. Pasquale took 2 groups of people. He asked one group of people to play a 5-finger piece on the piano. They had never played the piano before. And he asked the second group to simply imagine that they were playing that 5-finger piece on the piano. And what they saw was that both groups had the same level of plasticity in the brain, so the same level of activity, and their brain was starting to create new synapses in accordance to what they were thinking. That shows us that our thoughts are extremely powerful. We can start to create new pathways in our brain just on what we're thinking about. This information ties in well with the power of visualization. Now, studies have shown that we can mentally rehearse something, usually something that has to be backed up by physical activity. So it's not about visualizing an abstract version of yourself, but more visualizing yourself in situations that you'd like to change. So let me give you a little bit of an example. Let's say that you are somebody that would like to adopt a running habit. Visualizing yourself the night before, waking up, pressing the alarm button, not snoozing, putting on your clothes, putting on your shoes, and walking out the door means that then when it comes to it, you'll be better prepared. Your brain has created this blueprint of synapses that are starting to communicate to your brain that you are now somebody that's going to adopt this as a habit. Let's take another example. Let's say you're somebody that has a meeting next week and you normally become very nervous and you don't have confidence in these situations. You can visualize yourself being better prepared for that interview with better body language, being able to maybe adopt a tool like the physiological sigh, which is a breathing technique that can help you stay calm under pressure. Because when you are in that situation, you are likely to forget about doing something like that. You are likely to change your body language if you haven't practiced it, because your brain will revert to what it knows best. And what it knows best is generally being panicked in those situations with low confidence. But you can change that through the power of visualization. The last thing I'd like to talk to you about is dopamine. Dopamine has been wrongly labeled as the neurochemical of pleasure. But what dopamine actually does is it puts you in pursuit of pleasure. Studies show that when we're working on our goals and there's an anticipated reward at the end, dopamine rises in anticipation of that reward to put you in a motivation drive to work towards it. But when we actually achieve the reward, dopamine drops. That tells us that if we continue to wait until we get what we want in life to be happy, we're always going to be chasing that feeling. Because when you get to that finish line, there's going to be another finish line and another finish line and another one after that. So your happiness is now. Dopamine doesn't want you to be happy. Dopamine wants you to have more. And until you start changing your narrative and start to see that your happiness is now, you will always be chasing that finish line. It's called the arrival fallacy. The arrival fallacy eludes you into thinking that when you get the promotion, when you get the job, when you get the house, when you get the dog, when, only then you'll be happy. But your happiness is now. So my takeaway message for you is that if you've been somebody who didn't know that you could change, then I want you to know that neuroplasticity, your ability to create new pathways and undo unwanted behaviors in your life, you are able to do that well into old age. So if you're somebody that says, I've been wired this way, I'd like you to scrap that statement, because by virtue of neuroplasticity, you can create yourself and create whoever you want to be.